This conference will now be recorded.
Different components of Selenium we have discussed already.
Yes, sir. ID and
Yeah, Selenium Grid and Selenium WebDriver, Selenium IDE. These are the different components currently in Selenium. Selenium IDE is used to do a record and playback of your scenario. You record your scenario and then you can playback it. But you are not going to use any programming language in this Selenium IDE tool. But if you are not using any logic, you cannot develop the any programming language. If you are not using, you cannot develop the logic properly, right? You cannot write a logic. So to do that, and we cannot use Selenium IDE. That's why we are going for the Selenium WebDriver. And this, how this Selenium WebDriver came into picture, and I have explained you. The another component initially in 2004 this released by ThoughtWorks company. Selenium was released in 2004 by ThoughtWorks company with a components, three components again: Selenium IDE, Selenium remote control at that time, and Selenium Grid was there. These are the three components. And Selenium IDE is again only for Firefox. That was a plugin. Now they added later for Chrome browser also. And you can add for Chrome browser also. You can record your scenarios and you can run it back. That's a Selenium IDE component purpose. But Selenium remote control purpose is you can use any programming language and you can write your test and you can run on different browsers and operating system combination. That means Selenium remote control supports multiple browsers, multiple operating systems, multiple programming languages, and but it has a different architecture, right? The architecture is different. It's a client server architecture. And when you send a request to the server, first will take up that server will send that request to your browser. Your browser means your application. That's a lengthy process. Right, first your request goes to server. Server is ready, your request will be considered. If server is not ready, your request won't reach the browser. This is the drawback of Selenium remote control. And Google is the vast user of this Selenium because they want to test all their test cases every day. So then what they did is they found one solution. So the mediator server is the mediator in the Selenium RC between your code and your application. If server is started, your code will execute. If server is not started, your code is not going to execute. That's a one drawback. Second drawback is it's little bit slow because obviously if you have direct interaction with the application and through mediator, if you are going and reaching the application, there is a lot of difference, right? That difference and that is avoided in the WebDriver. So with that, they developed one tool, that is WebDriver tool developed by Google, and Google has started this WebDriver, and but they don't have all other features like multiple browser support, multiple programming language support, multiple operating system support, multiple built-in framework support that Selenium has. Then what they did, Google went and spoke to ThoughtWorks company because ThoughtWorks company is the father of Selenium. And they spoke to ThoughtWorks, say that, okay, I have a good project which is having a, direct interaction of application. Your command directly interact with the application. There is no server needed for this. Can you merge your Selenium remote control code and will make this project very powerful? And they accepted because one big company is joining in the development of Selenium project. They accepted for that. And then Selenium RC plus WebDriver, it will be Selenium WebDriver. That means Selenium 1.0 plus WebDriver equal to Selenium 2.0. The first WebDriver version is Selenium 2.0. That's how WebDriver came into picture into the market. In 2009, at the end, they released this Selenium so WebDriver and release it to the market. Okay. So that's how they release it to the market, Selenium WebDriver with a 2.0 version. And in the 2.0 version, there are a lot of drawbacks, and so that's they made first initial WebDriver by combining the Selenium RC code, and the Selenium RC tool is still available for use, but further development they stopped because all that Selenium RC code in the WebDriver. So they are using Selenium 2.0 Selenium WebDriver, and now Selenium WebDriver became a very popular after 2010, and it is very fast and very good tool for the web application testing. So why the Selenium WebDriver is very powerful? Let's see all the reasons one by one. So taking other automation tools into consideration, Selenium has the capability to support multiple operating systems. Like you can run your test case on the Windows, Linux, Mac OS. That's the beauty of this Selenium tool. And even you can run on mobile applications also. Mobile devices also you can run your application, mobile applications testing also you can do with the Selenium WebDriver. Separate component. Initially there was a Android driver, iOS driver they developed in the WebDriver itself, but later they separated this mobile testing and they created a one component, that is Appium is the another component. You can test your mobile applications with Appium too. So that also you can integrate with the Selenium WebDriver for web application testing, whatever is there. And another thing is Selenium is an open source tool. You don't need to pay money if you want to use that tool. That's another advantage, cost cutting, right? If you take a commercial tools in the market, QTPs and ALM, this quality center and ALM, this is same. And another one is UFT we are calling now, Unified Functional Test Tool. That is the competitive in the market for the functional testing tools. But once Selenium came into picture, the UFT went down drastically because that's a costly one, very expensive tool, that one. And basically every company looks for the cost cutting. Immediately everybody moving towards Selenium only. Then, and Selenium supports multiple languages, another advantage. It supports Python, Perl, Ruby, PHP, .NET, that means C#, Java, JavaScript, all these languages you can write your test case. Any one language is enough. You can write your test cases. That's the advantage with the Selenium. And another thing is, another beneficial feature of Selenium is that, so that language used for building the application, you don't need to use develop your test cases. You can use, for example, your application is designed with Java. You can use Ruby to design your test cases. Or your application is designed with Ruby. You can use Python to write your test cases. Or C# you can use. Any of the test cases you can use to design your test cases. That's the how to design the test cases. with the Selenium. And also Selenium supports multiple browsers like Chrome, Firefox, Safari, Opera, Explorer, and Edge browser, all latest browsers also. Edge browser also it supports. That's another advantage with Selenium tool. So it is having a one developer community. You can file the bugs regarding Selenium tool that is backed by Google. So you can get all the information and bugs related. So that will be handled by Google. They will take care of any bug is there, and you can get the solution from there. And the Selenium supports object identification mechanisms like CSS, Path, and different ID locators you can use to recognize the web page elements. And also Selenium supports multiple built-in frameworks like TestNG, JUnit, NUnit, TestUnit. Based on the programming language, you have a unit testing frameworks. Different frameworks are supported by Selenium automatically. You don't need to download that tools or all those frameworks. It is inbuilt in the Selenium code. For example, if you're using Java, you can use JUnit and TestNG frameworks. And if you're using C#, you can use NUnit framework. If you're using Ruby, you can use a TestUnit framework. Like that, different frameworks are available. If you're Python, you can use PyTest, or so different frameworks are supported by this Selenium based on the programming language. That's another advantage with the Selenium tool. And also you can create a customized frameworks, and that will be supported by Selenium. So that's another advantage with a Selenium tool. So these are all the advantages, and also you can do compatibility testing, browser compatibility testing you can perform with this Selenium tool. That's the advantages why Selenium is great nowadays, why it is very popular, because of all these features make Selenium very powerful. So you can say WebDriver is a collection of language bindings and which it drives your application. That's a pure definition of WebDriver. So WebDriver is a collection of language bindings which it drives the application. That is called WebDriver. So it drives your application with the different language bindings, language specific APIs are already included in the each browser. That APIs will directly talk with the application. That's why WebDriver is a direct interaction, no mediator at all. So that's it. Brief introduction. Let's see the difference between WebDriver and Selenium remote control. And WebDriver is a very fast because of its simpler architecture, and RC is very slow because of its complicated architecture. WebDriver directly talks to the browser, and RC needs the help of RC server in order to talk with the browser. WebDriver API is more concise. So API is nothing but a methods. All the WebDriver, they developed the small methods, and that is called APIs, we call them. So open source APIs. WebDriver is an open source APIs. Anybody can download the WebDriver jar files, and they can add to the project. They can use it directly. But UFT, you cannot use it directly. You have to buy a license. Then only you can use that UFT features. But Selenium is not like that. So RC APIs are duplicate for one action, and they will provide multiple methods, multiple APIs. Obviously, you will get a confusion, right? When to use this method, when to use this method. For example, for click, they will provide a click, click at, click and wait. So many methods they will provide. Mouse, mouse down. They will provide a lot of methods, but you will definitely get a confusion. When to use click, when to use click it, when to use click and wait to. For one task, they provided so many. So that's the duplicate APIs for performing the tasks on the web application elements. That's a duplicate APIs are provided in the remote control server. And WebDriver supports HTML unit browser. RC doesn't support HTML unit browser. And Edge browser also it doesn't support. And WebDriver supports Edge browser also. WebDriver supports mobile application testing. RC doesn't support mobile application testing. And WebDriver supports multiple programming languages like Java, Ruby, Perl, Python, JavaScript, C#. These are the different languages are supported by WebDriver, and RC also supports all these languages. WebDriver supports multiple browsers like Firefox, Chrome, Safari, Opera, Edge, and HTML unit browser. And RC supports most of the browsers except HTML unit and Edge browsers. Ghost browser means HTML unit browser. HTML unit browser is the browser which is not going to appear for you like other browsers. It will open, right? This is not going to appear for you. So that is the HTML unit browser or Edge. Edge browser is, you know, Microsoft new browser, right? Nowadays on the Windows 10 onwards they included this Edge browser. So WebDriver supports multiple operating systems like Windows operating system, Linux, Mac, Apple OS, and RC also supports these all the different operating systems, because from RC only this feature came to the WebDriver. And supporting multiple browsers also, supporting multiple programming language feature also came from RC to WebDriver. So built-in framework support also came from RC to WebDriver, because they merged all the code except server concept. Except server concept, entire RC code merged in the WebDriver. So that's why it is going to have all the features. But they have rewritten language-wise bindings methods. They have rewritten, and those methods they have rewritten. But so this is the work they did, extra work. Each language-wise methods are different, right? RC methods are different. WebDriver methods are different. These APIs are developed by WebDriver guys, and so that's the only extra task they did. Remaining all other code is available in the RC that is merged with the WebDriver. So this is the difference between WebDriver. So what is the limitations? What is the drawbacks of a WebDriver? WebDriver has no built-in commands that automatically generate the test results. WebDriver report is very bad because it will be in, so you cannot understand directly. WebDriver is not providing any report. You have to depend on the some testing frameworks like TestNG framework. You have to depend on that. And also WebDriver doesn't support Windows-based application testing. It supports only web-based application testing. It supports only web application testing only. It supports only web applications you can test. Even in the web application, if you are getting, right, if you are getting a Windows dialog, window dialogues, that is not handled by Selenium. You have to use a different concepts to handle that. So that is this WebDriver concept. And also limitations, other limitations are which scenarios you cannot automate is bitmap comparison is not possible in Selenium WebDriver. Automating CAPTCHA is not possible in Selenium WebDriver. We cannot read so barcodes, right? Barcodes you cannot test with Selenium. Barcodes, so CAPTCHA testing and bitmap comparison you cannot do with Selenium. These are the scenarios you cannot automate. And limitations are no reporting capability that WebDriver has. Inbuilt reporting capability is not there. Okay, That's the one thing. And another thing is WebDriver doesn't support Windows-based application testing. It supports only web application testing. These are the drawbacks. And what are the challenges in automation while using the Selenium tool? Or your automation test tool is a Selenium. Selenium is a functional test tool. Only functionality you can test it, UI testing. Basically, UI testing you can do with Selenium. But what are the challenges will be there? The first one is pop-up windows. So the pop-ups that we receive on the screen during automation testing are part of the operating system. But Selenium often fails to record the pop-ups in web applications. When the window pop-ups comes, it is not going to recognize properly. That's just now I told the challenging task. But so nowadays the window pop-ups, if you get, there is a alerts concept introduced in the WebDriver that will be handle this window pop-ups. Window alerts are handled by alerts interface, and their respective methods will handle them. That's our pop-up windows. Directly you cannot direct provision, it is not there, but you have to use some concept in the Selenium to handle this window pop-ups. And you have to use either dismiss method or accept method to handle those window dialogues. If you click, if you call accept method, it will click OK on that alert dialog window. And if you call dismiss method, it will click on cancel on that one. To get the text of that, you can use a get text method. So these are the different methods available in the Selenium that will take care of your window dialogues. And second one is another challenging task is identifying a dynamic elements. For example, in the web pages, there are elements which are having a dynamic values, dynamic attributes are there for a particular element. Then how to handle them? To handle them, we're going to use different concepts of XPath and CSS techniques to identify them. You can use contains, ends with, starts with, and access XPaths to identify your dynamically changing web elements. So this is the challenging task. So you can handle with this XPath, dynamic XPaths you can write. So that's a second challenge. If you're using a Selenium tool, a timeout or sync issue. So whether you call it a timeout or sync issue is often a common challenge in Selenium test cases. So what is the challenge is maybe your application is taking more time to load, but your tool doesn't wait that much time. If you are not adding the proper synchronization commands, if you need to add synchronization commands, you need to tell Selenium, okay, wait for this element, wait for this title. You have to use explicit and implicit waits to so ask to wait and to avoid this timeout issues in your test cases. So if you want to handle these timeout issues, you have to use proper synchronization techniques. Those are adding implicit wait, explicit waits, and fluent waits in the test cases. While writing the test code itself, you have to include these wait commands, and then it will start working. That's a timeout issues will be a common challenge in the Selenium test case. Mostly it will fail because of page is taking too much time to load, or you specified 5 seconds, but it is taking more than 5 seconds, then your test case will fail there. But how can you handle this? So how can you handle this kind of timeout issues? Add the wait commands in Selenium code, then that will be solved. That's another challenge comes, then how to handle that challenge. Cross browser testing. So when you are testing your automated test case on different browsers, it will be a challenge, because one browser it will work, another browser it may not work. So what you need to do, you have to take a necessary actions to make it work on all the browsers, and maybe XPath will change, and you have to change the XPath or method. Some method will work on one browser, and another method will not work in other browser. So you have to make it a common method and working on both the browsers. So to avoid this issue, you should run the script again and again on different browsers and analyze the results. If it fails on some browsers, then you have to change the locator strategy. Then it will start working. So that's the how to handle if you get a cross-browser testing time, your test case failing in one browser and another browser it is passing, means you change your locator strategy, then it will start working. So that's all this is you have to explain. This is the another major interview question. What are all the challenges you faced in Selenium automation? That's a common question nowadays. So one by one point you explain. Testing of mobile application. Selenium allows us to test mobile web apps on any operating system and browser on the desktop, right? But when it comes to mobile app testing, it cannot work with the operating system like Android and iOS. Selenium directly doesn't work out. For instance, the version of the Twitter that you run in the Safari browser and your Mac system can be tested with the Selenium, but it cannot be tested on the mobile Safari browser on your iPhone or Android phone. So in order to do that, we have another alternative solution for that is Appium tool you have to use. Appium is an open source testing framework tool which has the WebDriver protocol to drive native, hybrid, and iOS, Android mobile apps. You can test it. So that's the how you can overcome the mobile application thing with a Selenium. That is not possible. You have to use a Appium tool. Page loading. So just now we discussed in the timeout and sync up issues. Page loading. So and some of the web pages, it will take a lot of time to load. It depends on the data you have. It will take a lot of time, but you have to wait for that loading activity. Then you can do. So how can you achieve this? How can you wait for this page loading and spinners, invisibility, all this you can handle with the explicit wait commands. You have to use explicit wait commands in your code, then it will wait automatically for that page loading issues you can solve. Scalability. So scalability means it is an open source platform, right? Selenium allows you to test almost on every browser and operating system. So, but there are still limitations on the number of tests you can run at one time with Selenium is how quickly it can execute them based on the number of hub and node configurations you are doing. Hub and node means that's a Selenium grid. Okay, Selenium grid is a two components. Selenium grid has two components. One is the hub, another are nodes. Nodes you can configure. A hub is a admin server and node is a managed servers, and you can configure all the nodes with your admin server, and you can each node means one operating system, plain operating system. You can run your test cases on each node, each operating system, and that how many you can run, that's a scalability. How many test suites you can run at a time. Based on that, how many you configured, based on that you can run your test cases. So the primary of this automation testing, execute as many tests as possible for an extensive test coverage in minimum time. That's the automation goal, right? You have to give more coverage and you have to execute your test case in less time. That's automation testing purpose. At the initial stage, your web app might have short test builds, but as it grows, the test will expand on every sprint, right? sprint on sprint, your test case is increasing. So such cases, so to execute all of them, and you should have a parallel execution. So Selenium Grid can empower your automation test cases run parallelly. You can run parallelly, and you can achieve, or also you can run your test cases on different browser operating system combination, and so that will be the parallel execution you can do with the Selenium Grid. You can achieve this scalability with the Selenium Grid. So if the sprint and sprint you are adding new features, then that means new test case will keep on adding. So how then the number of test cases are increasing. So that's why if you run in one platform, it will take a lot of time. Instead of that, you can run on different operating systems and browser combination. Parallel you can execute, you can reduce the execution time. So that's this scalability means. So multi-tab testing. So multi-tab testing means you are testing your Selenium test case and web applications in multiple tabs. But this functionality can turn out into so many obstacles. If you don't know the exact commands, how to switch on to one tab to other tab, and that will give a problem for you and your test case will fail. And you should have a proper understanding how this can be moved from one tab to other tab, and how to open a new tab without closing the current tab. You should have a fair idea. Otherwise, it's going to be a problem again, right? So that's the multi-tab testing. So to overcome this, try to store the current window handle in one variable, then go to the new window and store it in the second variable. So then use the switch to methods to switch between the different windows and the tabs. So that concept I will explain. Once you get the WebDriver methods, you will have an idea. Then you can test multi-tab testing. So limited reporting, I told you very clearly in the beginning also. No doubt Selenium can enormously improve automate testing capability, but due to some limitations, cannot generate the good testing reports. Every tester needs a good testing report after executing your test cases. So, and it helps us to analyze your entire test results, right? You have to analyze those test results. How can you analyze them? You can analyze them, and once you have a proper report, otherwise you cannot analyze it. So that is what this limited reporting, also another drawback, but you can integrate this with the third-party tools and you can get the proper report. Okay, that's a limited reporting. And then limited CAPTCHA handling. So I told you, you cannot handle the CAPTCHA in Selenium automation test code. Direct handling option you don't have. This CAPTCHA is not handled by Selenium. So there are some third-party tools that can help in automating CAPTCHA. Achieving 100% results is still not possible. So you cannot handle CAPTCHA handling completely. So that's the another drawback, challenging task for the Selenium automation. Supports only web-based applications. As I told you clearly, Windows-based applications you cannot test it. So you can test only web applications, not Windows-based applications. So that's the drawbacks of or limitations or challenges of Selenium when you are automating your test cases. Any questions?
No, sir.
So let's see architecture of WebDriver. So what are all the components are there in the WebDriver architecture? We'll see that. So WebDriver has many components. So WebDriver architecture contains Selenium client libraries. That means you can write your Selenium APIs using different programming languages. So the Selenium developers, developed the APIs in different languages, so that you can write your automation test cases in any programming language. So that's a first component, Selenium client library. Then JSON wire protocol, and you cannot see all these things. It's internally already done. This architecture means internal architecture of a WebDriver. Then you have a browser driver classes, then real browsers. These are the 4 components you have in Selenium WebDriver architecture. Selenium client libraries are language bindings means what? Selenium supports multiple libraries, like multiple languages. Selenium developers developed these APIs using different languages. So you can allow to write your Selenium test cases with the different languages. That's a main concept of developing Selenium APIs with the different programming languages. So what are the languages it supports? Java, Ruby, Python, C#, JavaScript. These are the languages it supports. So any one of the languages, popular languages, these are all right. Java, Ruby, Python, JavaScript. And these are very popular languages. C#. All these languages you can use to automate your test cases. Second one is JSON wire protocol. So the JSON wire protocol means what? JSON is a JavaScript object notation. It is used to transfer data between a server and a client on the web. JSON wire protocol is a REST API that transfers the information between the client and HTTP server. So each browser driver has its own HTTP server. Each browser driver class has its own HTTP server. Each browser driver class. So each browser has one driver class, like Firefox driver class, Chrome driver class, Safari driver class, IE Internet Explorer driver class, Edge driver. Like that, you have a browser wise one browser driver class. And so here each browser driver has one HTTP server. So that will interact with the real browser. So that will send your command to real browser. We'll see that all the components one by one. What is a JSON responsibility? When you take the input from particular language binding, and that will be converted into JSON format and give it to the server. Server will process in the application and it will send back the response to you. That's what this JSON wire protocol, just transferring the data. That's a JSON wire protocol responsibility. Browser drivers is the third component. Each browser contains a separate browser driver class. Browser drivers communicate with the respective browser without revealing the internal logic of the browser functionality. It won't reveal the logic. And when a browser driver is received any command, then that command will be executed on the respective browser, and the response will go back in the form of HTTP response. So that is how browser drivers will help us. So when the JSON wire protocol gives that command in the JSON format to the browser driver class, the browser driver class will go and interact with the communicate with the real browser, and then their action will perform on the application. The response will get back to you. That's how your code will execute in the WebDriver. So browsers, you have all real browsers, right? Like Firefox, Chrome, Edge, Safari, Internet Explorer. These are all the different browsers. So all these browsers will be real browsers. And So how Selenium WebDriver internally works, let me explain. So you write a code like this. So in the Selenium IDE, Eclipse IDE, you will write the code WebDriver driver equal to new Chrome driver. You are creating object for a Chrome driver class. Then what will happen? All the Chrome driver related methods you can call here. And the Chrome browser object, that methods, whatever how you implemented for Chrome driver, that logic will come and execute for you on the real browser. And what will happen if you write the code like this? This will be converted into JSON format. So it will convert like this. So this code, that driver.get method, right? HTTP google.com. This will convert into JSON format. JSON means key value pair. It will convert like this, and that will be given to your browser driver class. And browser driver class uses a HTTP server to receive the HTTP request. So once the URL reaches the browser driver, then the browser driver will pass that request to real browser over HTTP, and then that command in your Selenium script will be executed on the browser. That's how it will be internally connected. And if the request is a post request, then there will be action on the browser. If the request is a get request, then the corresponding response will be generated at the browser end, and it will be sent over to the browser driver, and you will get a response. So basically, all these WebDriver APIs are the API methods, and you will use HTTP verb methods like get to, post to, put to, delete to. These methods you will use. Get means it will just get the information from the browser. Post means it will perform the action like click to, type to, all these actions, selecting the option from drop down. These actions will be done by this post method. Internally it will happen. All the code execution will happen internally by these APIs. That's the how code will execute in the Selenium WebDriver. So in the UI you cannot see. You can see action is happening on particular element, but internally it is calling the WebDriver APIs, and it will convert into JSON format all your commands, and then that will be given to WebDriver driver browser class, and that will act as a server. That server will communicate with the real browser application. The action will happen on that. The response you will get back. That's how this WebDriver will work on that. Any questions?
No, sir.
Yeah. So let's open your one of the browser and type this. We'll download the Selenium WebDriver bindings. Open selenium.dev official website and go to download space. You download the Java WebDriver bindings. We'll download the Java WebDriver bindings. Click on downloads. Here you have Java version, right? Java. So this is the one. You can see it download. Click on download and it will download the zip file for you and place it in one folder. I already downloaded, so that's why I'm not going to download one more time. And I created a WebDriver jars folder, either in the C drive or a D drive. You create this folder, okay? C drive or a D drive, you create this folder and then place that zip file in this WebDriver jars folder.
Java we need to select, right?
Yeah, Java opposite you have a download, right? Click on that download.
Yes.
So it will be a zip file you will get. That zip file, you place it inside this WebDriver jars folder, either C or D drive, and then you can unzip it. Once you unzip, you will get this folder, Selenium Java 3.141.5. This is the latest version now, stable version. But there is a 4 version also coming. So Selenium started with the Selenium WebDriver started with the Selenium 2.0. Now 3.0, right? 3.xx. Now 4 version also going to release soon. So WebDriver 4 is going to come soon. It's still under testing, and people are using, and if they are facing any issue, and they can fix it, and they will finally, if there is no issues, then they will release this 4 version. Okay, so
Sir,
download
after
it.
downloading, where I have to paste those?
You create a one folder WebDriver jars in either C drive or a D drive. It's up to you.
Okay.
Create a one folder WebDriver jars folder. Under that folder, place this zip file. Then
Okay.
unzip it. Then unzip it. Once you unzip, you will get a folder Selenium-Java 3.141.59 folder will be generated. You have to unzip. Right click and extract all on that zip file.
Okay.
Okay, sir.
Okay, is it downloaded, extracted?
Yes, sir.
So just go inside that, and you will get a libs folder and 2 more jars. You will get executable jar files, 2 more you will get. Those 2 jars you move inside the libs folder. Executable 2 jars, libs outside, you will get a change log, license, notice, right? These are the normal files. Other than that, 2 more executable jar files you will get. Those 2 you move inside the lib folder. So we are keeping basically all the jars in one place. That's it. Other than that, nothing.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Done.
Okay. So now open your Eclipse. So I'm showing you how to create a first WebDriver project. I'm showing here how to create a first WebDriver project. I'm showing here. So we will configure this WebDriver jars with your Java project. Then all WebDriver APIs you can use inside your Java project. That's our
So we are
WebDriver
not
project
able to
output.
hear you. There is a disturbance.
I think, can you mute? Okay, yeah, Krishna said. Okay, yeah. So basically, what is the point of adding WebDriver jars is, suppose you create a Java project, what will happen? All the Java jars are there, right? That means Java code you are able to use. Same way, if you add the WebDriver jars to your project, then all WebDriver APIs and WebDriver code you can use in that project. That's why any code, if you want use already existing code and you add that jars to your project, then you can use that code in your project. Like WebDriver is one of the already open source API code. That methods, if you want to use in your programs, you need to add all WebDriver code, WebDriver jars. Then it will be easy for you so to use that. Okay, let me create one WebDriver. One project I will create, Java project, plain Java project. Go to here, file, okay, file, new Java project. If you have Java project, you select the Java project. If you don't have, what you can do, file, new project you can select, or you can select the Java project, anyone. If you select the project, you have to choose the Java project here. So search for Java. You have a Java, select the Java project, click on next. If you have a Java project, you might have a Java project. Select the Java project, directly will land in this window instead of going one more window and coming here. Now give here WebDriver training, October 14, 2020. I just given the unique name, that's it. And then you finish it. So it is taking some time to create. We're just creating a Java project, but still I didn't configure WebDriver jars. Now we are going to configure the WebDriver jars. I'll show you how to configure the WebDriver jars in any project. So basically you need to add jars to this project. So how to add the WebDriver jars to any project? So what you can do, just open your project. This is our project, right? WebDriver training October 14. I have my JDK and SRC folder and different project path and class path is coming. That's fine. But so I need to add WebDriver jars. I don't have WebDriver jars here. So right click on the project. Right click on the project, created project. So there is a build path. You can see build path. Configure build path. So what you need to do? We are adding now WebDriver jars to the Java project to make it as a WebDriver project. That means you can use all WebDriver code in your test cases. Now right click on the project, select the build path, then you have a configure build path. Click on this. So make sure libraries tab is selected on the right side. Libraries tab is selected on the right side. Click on add external jars. Click on add external jars. So go to the folder where your WebDriver jars are there. This is the Selenium-Java 3.14. Go to that location, add so all these jars. Select Control A, select all. Control A you do, click on open. That's why I kept outside jars also in this folder. These are the two jars outside this lib folder. Client combined resources. These two are outside this lib folder. I kept here. Otherwise, I need to open 2 times this window. I have to add first these things and then I have to add these things one more time. Instead of that, I kept all of them in one place. I'm adding at a time. So add this, apply and close it. That's it. That's how to add WebDriver jars. Now you see reference libraries.
Sir, all we have to add are only those two which are copied.
All.
Okay.
All you have to add. Whatever is there in the libs folder, everything you have to add. That's how to configure WebDriver with Java project. Now it is a WebDriver code all. See in the reference libraries, you have all WebDriver code. So these are all the jars, WebDriver jars. WebDriver jars are ready. Now you can write the Selenium code. Without having WebDriver jars, you cannot write the Selenium code. Okay, so remember that. If you are getting some error, means you are missing some WebDriver jars. You are not able to import something, means that some jar file is missing. WebDriver folder inside, all jar files you didn't add to the project. That's why you are getting an error. Okay, so let me explain. So we created a one simple this WebDriver project we created. We created a Java project, then we added the WebDriver jars, Java jars to your project. Now, what is a WebDriver? So WebDriver is an interface. WebDriver is an interface. Or you go to your documentation page and you can get all the classes and interfaces of WebDriver that are already added in this jar files. These jar files. In these jar files, all this WebDriver code is available. These all classes and interfaces are available there. Now you can see here WebDriver. See, WebDriver is an interface. So what is an interface? Kirisha, what is an interface? You forget? Very important point, madam. I told you very clearly. Without interface concept, it's a difficult to understand WebDriver. So go and read the WebDriver first interface and come back tomorrow's class. This is the very, very important. If you are not understanding the interface concept, no use in the WebDriver at all. It's going to be a problem for you.
Yes,
So if you have a problems, there is a classes going on, Java classes 6 to 7, just a beginning that Java classes are there. You can join there. If you are not remembering them, join one more time. Nobody will stop you, right? And get a fair idea on the Java. Without Java, it's difficult to survive in the interview also, madam. So that's why please make Java perfect. Attend multiple times.
yes, sir. Sure.
I told you a long time back this. Okay, yeah. Let me give you the brief introduction. So interface is a template or blueprint like a class. It contains only abstract methods and constraints, right? And this interface can be implemented in many classes. You can implement in many classes. That's what the interface means. The implementation is not going to happen. The logic is not revealed inside the interface for the methods. All abstract methods will be there inside the interface. So these methods you will implement in the classes. So what are all the classes inside they implemented this WebDriver methods? So these are the classes. Chrome driver, it is for Chrome browser. Edge driver for Edge browser. Event firing WebDriver, it will trigger the events. It's a listener, one of the listener. It listens to your events, your actions. Firefox driver class for Firefox browser. Internet Explorer driver for IE browser. Opera driver for Opera browser. Remote WebDriver. This is the main class. In this class, this WebDriver are implemented. I'll show you the implementation architecture tomorrow. And Safari driver for Safari browser. These are the classes inside this WebDriver methods are implemented. And the super interface of WebDriver is search context. Search context is the super interface for WebDriver. That's why you can see public interface, WebDriver extends search context. That means search context is the parent interface, WebDriver is the child interface. So that's if in the interview, if they ask you what is the super interface of WebDriver is search context. So in the search context, you have two methods. One is a find element and find elements methods are there. Two methods are there. And so these are the inner classes, nested classes of WebDriver. And so you can see here the methods. What are the methods are there in this WebDriver? Close method. So close the current window. If you want to close current window, you have to use a close method. You have to call the close method. So find element method. You want to find the first web element in the web page, you can call find element method. Find elements. See, find element method is a return type method. What is it is returning? Web element interface it is returning. So again, return type methods plays a major role here. So remember the syntax of return type methods. So all interface, one more time, please refer our interface concept and come back. It will help you a lot tomorrow's class.
Okay, sir, sure.
Find elements. So it returns a list of elements, a group of elements it returns. It finds all the web elements with a given locator. The locator is common to many elements. It is the locator, whatever you given, that is representing many elements. If you want to find many elements, see find elements method you have to use. Find element will identify single element, but find elements will identify multiple elements. See, it's a singular method, plural method. So that's the kind of APIs. These are all called APIs. APIs already developed in the WebDriver. Then get method. You want to open your URL in the browser. You need to call get method. This is a void type. It doesn't return anything. Just it does opens the given URL. That's it in the browser. Get current URL. It will fetch in the address bar what URL is there. You want to get it. And this is the getter method. Getter method always return type methods, right? What data it returns? String type data it returns. So get a string representing the current URL that browser is looking at. Now this browser is looking at this current URL. This URL you can get into variable by get current URL method. For opening the URL in the browser, you just open the browser. You want to open the URL in that browser, you call the get method. It will open that URL in the browser. But to get what URL is there on the address bar, you can call get current URL method. To get it, you will call get current URL method. To open the URL in the empty browser, some URL I want to open Facebook, so I can call get method. I will mention in double quotes my URL name www.http://www.facebook.com or https://google.com. I can mention here. So this get method will open the given URL on that browser. Then get page source. You want to get the HTML source code of the current page. You can call get page source. This also returns a string type data. The return type of all this method is string type. Get a title, the page title of your page, current page. You want to get it. This is the page title of this page. So this page title you want to get it. You call get title method. This returns a string type data. See, all these are return type methods. Get window handle. This returns the current window ID. Every window, every page has one unique ID, dynamic ID will be generated. How can you get that dynamic ID? You need to call this get window handle. How can you recognize that page? By that window ID. That window ID, how can you get it? You need to call this get window handle method. That returns a string type data. You need to store this value in some string type data variable, and you can use wherever you want that. Just now I explained, right? Handling the multiple tabs. This is the one will give that window ID, current window ID. If you want all other window IDs, you can call get window handles method. This returns a collection of set collection. It returns the return type is set collection. This method return type is set collection. This method return type is string variable. This method return type is set collection. The angular braces inside the each element in this collection is a string type data. That's a get window handles method. So you opened multiple tabs. Now I opened, this is a one tab, this is another tab. You opened a new window with a Selenium WebDriver. All window IDs, how can you get it? You can get all the window IDs by this Selenium method, that is get window handles. How can you get the current window ID? Only single window ID. With a get window handle you can do that. So very, very important, these two methods. Oh, sorry, let's go back. Next, manage method. Different options you want to manage, you can use manage method. That's options, WebDriver options you want to handle, you can use manage method. Navigate method, so I will explain this navigation methods. Quit method, the navigate method, let me give you here itself, then the situation come. You want to navigate from forward and backward. These arrow marks are there in the browser, right? These are browser features. How can you simulate these actions in the WebDriver? You can do with this navigate method. I want to refresh the browser. You have a navigate method inside, refresh method is there. You want to go back to previous page. You want to click this backward button, backward arrow. You want to click in the Selenium WebDriver code. You need to call navigate.back method. You want to go to next page. You click on the, you call the forward method. So all the methods of this browser actions you can do, browser navigations you can do with the navigate method. And quit method. Quit method is used to do, you open multiple browsers, all at a time you want to close, you can call quit method. Then what is the difference between close and quit? Close will close the where your cursor is there, that window only will be closed. One window only will be closed, that is current window. But quit is not like that. All windows will be closed. That's a quit method, a difference between close and quit. They will ask all these interview questions. What is the difference between close and quit? One interview question. Another question. What is the difference between get window handle and get window handles? Second interview question. And I'll tell you this. And another interview question. What is the difference between find element and find elements method? Another interview question. See, in the few areas, very small kind of methods, and they will ask a lot of questions, 5 to 6 questions on this area only. So that's why this is a very, very important. Switch to method. So you want to switch from one window to other window. You know window ID is here. You want to move from one window to other window. You have to call switch to method and give that window ID. Then it will go to that window or that tab. Or you want to move from current window to your alert dialog boxes. You need to call switch to method. You want to call one frame to other frame. So this is the frames. These are the frames. This frame to other frame. You have to call switch to and frame method you have to call. I'll tell you all this, but these are the methods in the WebDriver interface they declared and they're going to implement in these classes. I'll give you tomorrow the implementation architecture, then we'll write a small code. Okay, so that's it for the day. Any questions?